Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Monday Manna. My name is Darla Bonk. I'm the CEO and founder of Darla Bonk Consulting, and I bring this segment to you every Monday morning live at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from Monday Manna, where we provide to you clarity for your calling and direction for your doing. Today, I want to be talking to you about being strong and courageous and what that actually looks like from a biblical leadership perspective. Because I'm here to remind you today, number one, that as long as there is breath in your body, you have the power to change your circumstances. And today, we're really going to be talking about the one quality that separates leaders from extraordinary ones, in my opinion. And I believe that to be courage. Our theme today is courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the presence of God in moments of uncertainty. Mark Twain says, courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not the absence of fear. C.S. Lewis says, courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at a testing point. Joshua 1:9 says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I want you to notice this is not a suggestion, it's a command. He says, have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? Let's talk about Deuteronomy 31. Moses is encouraging Joshua to take over, to be strong and courageous, and to lead people into the promised land. He says, then Moses went out and spoke these words to all of Israel. I am now 120 years old, and I am just no longer able to lead you. The Lord has said to me, you shall not cross the Jordan. The Lord your God himself will cross over ahead of you, and he will destroy these nations before you, and you will take possession of their land. Joshua also will cross over ahead of you, as the Lord says, and the Lord will do to them what he did to Sihon and Og. The Lord will deliver them to you, and you must do to them all that I have commanded you. So be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you, and he will never leave you nor forsake you. Then in verse 7, it says that Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the presence of all of Israel, be strong and courageous, for you must go with these people into the land, and the land the Lord swore to the ancestors to give them, and you must divide it all among them as their inheritance. The Lord himself will go before you, and he will not leave you or forsake you. So do not be afraid and do not be discouraged. I read all of that to you because I want you to think about Joshua's position. Here's Moses, the greatest leader in Israel's history at that time, and he is passing the torch to Joshua. An entire nation is looking to him to lead them into this unknown territory, the promised land that Moses has been talking about for years and years. And this pressure is immense. The stakes are high, and the future is uncertain. Does that sound like any situation that you've had to deal with as a leader? The pressure being immense, the stakes being high, and the future being uncertain. Every CEO, every executive, every leader knows what it feels like when that fear creeps in. Your brain's amygdala, that internal panic button, just starts firing. Your heart rate increases, your thinking might get a little cloudy, and suddenly that bold vision you had feels impossible. That strategic decision you need to make now feels crippling and overwhelming. But here's the truth that will set you free. God designed you with the ability to regulate your nervous system, to think clearly, and to put on the mind of Christ. It can be really difficult in this day and age to stand up for what you believe in or to feel like you can speak freely about your convictions because we live in a culture that specializes in offense, right? The backlash, the venom, it's palpable, right? But what causes that backlash? In my opinion, I believe it stems from fear. It stems from that which we don't understand, that which we've never experienced. And it's a concept maybe that we've never been taught. So we immediately shut it down for fear that it might make us have to do another action or make us go out of our comfort zone. Fear can cripple our thinking. So the amygdala, it triggers the neurological and physiological responses. The amygdala is located in your medial temporal lobe, and it is central to identifying and responding to emotional stimuli, both positive and negative. And once that amygdala identifies what it perceives to be a threat, it signals the hypothalamus, located in the forebrain and the ventral brain. Think of your hypothalamus as the smart control panel of your brain. If you guys remember, I got that neuroscience certificate, so I'm geeking out on this a little bit today because I get to use this. So that links your nervous system to your endocrine system, your pituitary gland, thyroid, pancreas, and all those other areas that are responsible for regulating your hormones. The hypothalamus stimulates the pituitary glands to release adrenaline and cortisol. Think heart rate, faster breathing, your muscles tensing up, the dilated pupils. These are all activated by your hormones. The amygdala reacts very quickly, and sensory information is also traveling to your prefrontal cortex, that area responsible for rational thought and decision making. The brain's response to fear is a complexity of neural pathways and hormonal release. It's designed to quickly prepare the body to deal with potential threats, even if that threat is only perceived. So why in the world do I take you through all that? Because I want to remind you that in our mother's womb, in Psalms 139, we were knit together, created as this masterpiece that I'm always going to remind you about. And God put into us the ability to regulate ourselves, to calm ourselves down, to think clearly, putting on the mind of Christ, like I mentioned. Philippians 2:3-5 says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility, consider others better than yourselves. Each of you should not look only to your own interest, but also to the interests of others. And your attitude should be the same of that of Christ Jesus. And in 1 Corinthians 2:16, it declares, we have the mind of Christ. So we can listen to points of view that don't align with ours, and we can ask questions. We can take into consideration the interests of others and figure out how, having the mind of Christ, we can blend with them to find some common ground and to share the love of Jesus with them without condemning them, without pushing them down. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances, my fellow leader friend. You are not captive to your fears. You are a masterpiece, uniquely designed for purpose and impact. So we have to act like it. So here are your 3 leadership takeaways, my friend. Number 1, step into the challenges knowing God is with you. I don't know what your challenge is that you're facing today. Maybe it's a difficult conversation with your board. Maybe it's a strategic pivot that feels risky. Maybe it's a decision that could impact hundreds of jobs of your employees. But I know this, the same God who told Joshua, I will never leave you nor forsake you, is with you today in that boardroom, in that office, on that phone call, on that Zoom meeting, in that difficult conversation, and in that moment of decision. As sure as you are breathing air right now, God is with you. Number 2, make bold, prayerful decisions. Deuteronomy 30:11-14 reminds us that what God is commanding isn't too difficult or beyond our reach. No, the word is very near to you, it says in the word. It is in your mouth and in your heart so that you may obey it. Get this bad boy in your heart, folks. Open it up and read it. It's full of fantastic information for leaders. The wisdom you need is not hidden in a distant place. It is right there in your heart and in your spirit and in that still small voice that whispers truth when the world is shouting fear. W. Clement Stone says, thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. 1 Corinthians 6:13, be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, and be courageous and be strong. And takeaway number 3, lead in faith, not fear. Acts 4:13 says that when people saw Peter and John's courage, they were astonished and they took note that these men had been with Jesus. I want people to look at your leadership, at your decisions, at your courage out in the world today, making those tough calls, and your boldness in standing for what's right, and your strength in uncertain times, and hear people say, I know they've been with Jesus. Andy's been with Jesus. Mark has been with Jesus. Beth has been with Jesus. Sarah has been with Jesus. That choice, my friend, is yours. Are you going to focus on the fear, or are you going to focus on the courage that God has given to you? Because here's what I know to be true. You are the only one living your life. So do not let the world's opinion stop you or impact the decisions you make, because we only answer to our Creator. We live in a culture that specializes in offense, like I said, where speaking truth can bring the backlash. So remember, thinking isn't about overcoming fear. Action is about overcoming fear. Do it scared, do it anyway, right? So this week, I want to challenge you to identify one area, just one area where fear has been holding you back. And maybe it's having that honest conversation with your team about performance. Maybe it's making that strategic investment you know you have to make. Maybe it's finally aligning your company culture with your core values, even if it means difficult changes in your organization. Whatever it is, step into it with courage, knowing God goes before you. I want you to dream again, believe in yourself, and achieve the impossible. Leaders, you were not called to play it safe. You weren't designed to let fear make your decisions. You were created to lead boldly and live fully, to build businesses and lives that reflect the masterpiece that God created you to be. Moses couldn't cross the Jordan, but Joshua could. Some leaders before you couldn't take that step, but you can. Some leaders let fear win, but you can't. As long as there is breath in your body, my friend, you have the power to change your circumstances. And with God's presence, you can do it. God's presence in your uncertainty allows your circumstances to be rested upon the promises of God. There's no limit to what you can achieve. So this is your week to be strong and courageous, and this is your moment to lead in faith, not fear. So go out there and show the world what values-driven leadership looks like, and show them what it means to have been with Jesus. Lead boldly, live fully. The promised land awaits. All right, guys, have a great week. I will see you guys right back here